Weatherby.
Here.
With 5 out of 7, we have a quorum, the meeting is now open.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We have an agenda before us. Is there a motion to approve it as presented?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, first up we have our Truth in Taxation budget hearing for the 2026-2027.
So I'm Lisa Higgins, I'm the business manager for Northport Public Schools. And tonight we have the budget hearing for the general fund, the service fund, and student activity fund, the final budget for 2025-26, and the original budget for 2026-27. I'm gonna hit some brief overview of the general fund budget. So I'll start with 25-26 final budget. We saw some increases on the revenue side. 27 L2 and L4, those were some categoricals from the state of Michigan for teacher bonuses and mixers. We also had some other nominal increases on the state revenues. We did see a substantial increase in impact aid, which is a federal grant that the district receives. Title funding also increased, and our ISD payments increased. There were some decreases, a little bit on the property value side. We're using the carryover from 31AA grant, which was a hot topic this year. MIPSers, we also saw around a $50,000 increase. Moving to the expenditure side, some decreases on PD, supplies, and then we also had some salary and benefit savings from hiring newer employees who had a less cost than some older employees who had increases. We had the 27 L2 stipend, so that was a matching revenue and expenditure. Dual enrollment, substitutes. We had some contract updates, maintenance, capital outlay, bus repairs, tech, equipment. Athletics was a little higher this year as well, and we had an increased transfer to food service. Just food service costs increased, food. Overall, 25-26, we're maintaining our fund balance and had a normal transfer to public improvement of $1.17 million and food service of $321,000.
There's a retirement.
Oh, yes, sorry. And then moving to the 26-27 original general fund budget. Property taxes are set to increase a conservative 8%. Federal funding is flat for this year. Decreases, Medicaid will be down due to our special ed students being lower. There's no budgeted 31AA, so that's a decrease. We were using the carryover this year. We won't have any carryover for next year. 31N is set to decrease, so that's funding for counselors that we received through the ISD. The ORS retirement is set to decrease 5% based on the three branch budgets that we have so far from the state. And then head leave from the ISD, again, it's an offset from not having special ed student transportation. So we're seeing a decrease on both sides, decrease in revenue, but also decrease in expenditure. Moving on to expenditures, retirement percentage is set to be down between 1.5% to almost 7% based on the plan that staff are enrolled in. Less tech upgrades this year, forecasted some increases insurance is set to increase 3% for 2027. Salaries are up with raises. We have a big teacher contract on the board agenda tonight. Maintenance projects, and then utilities and gas. But again, overall, maintaining fund balance, normal transfer to public improvement of 1.18 million, and then food service, a little bit higher for next year, forecasting with retirement. We aren't sure what that new person will look like, so a $320,000 transfer to food service. And that's all I've got. If there's any questions, or anything you want to add?
Do you want to touch on the food service or the?
I wasn't going to go over the food service. If there were any questions, I can definitely address them. The big thing for next year is we have that open position. We're just not sure what it's going to look like. Who's going to fill that position? They could have full family insurance, which costs a lot more than someone who's taking cash in. And then just food costs increasing.
Student activity budget is new in the last few years as part of the, what's that, gas meeting? Yeah, and so we legally have to budget for how our students are gonna spend the money they have raised. We've done basically the same thing every year because it's consistent year over year, the seniors and the fundraising that happens. So no one's expecting a granular level of detail, but we're not required to produce a budget for the students.
Yes.
We have something like 40 or 50 accounts, don't we?
Yeah, there's a lot of accounts and they're all self-funded. There's no public dollars included in those.
Any questions?
Any other questions from the board?
Sounds like business as usual.
Business as usual.
Except, what are the assumptions in here about salary increases for the different categories of staff that work at the school?
I included the teacher contract that's on tonight's agenda.
And what's the number that you included for that? Because in the contract, it's like various percentages, right?
It's following the Schedule A for each employee.
Okay. Is there a number you can put to that?
I have 12.8%.
What is it?
12.8%.
12.8%, okay.
So then that also flowed through for that administrative team. And then the support staff union already has a contract that's been bargained. So they just bought the schedule for next year.
Any other questions? Thank you, Lisa, appreciate it. Is there a motion to close the budget hearing?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, next we have a presentation by the Norseman Robotics team.
If you want a better view, or just get farther away in case it went crazy.
Put them out in the hall so they can't hurt us with balls.
Good afternoon, school board. We are Northport Robotics. I'm Warren,
I'm Ariane. I'm Catherine.
and this is Northport Robotics. We believe small town, big impact, and we consist of 3 schools: Suns Bay, St. Mary's, and Northport. We currently do not have any St. Mary's kids.
First is more than just robotics. It was founded in 1989 in Venture Dean Chairman. First, is a global nonprofit organization that prepares young people for the future through of inclusive team-based robotics programs. The first community expresses many different things, including gracious. A few of the main ones are gracious professionalism and cooperation through the first value goals. Our program goals are to teach problem-solving skills, mechanical skills, time management, and to be a good ambassador for a community, and also to teach soft skills and give students the opportunity for scholarships and enhanced resumes. Our season goal are to improve with each match in an event, play in the afternoon, or be chosen for the championships or the qualifiers for states, and hopefully get to states or worlds. Our team has a variety of roles, including some of the ones you can see on the screen, but there's also many different ones, and each team member can have more than one role on the team. Especially with a smaller team, we need more people to be more included and more active in our group.
As of 2026, Michigan has 531 teams, the US has 2,900, and worldwide there are 3,700. We have varied from 9 students to 18 students, currently with 9 students, 8th to 12th grade from Suttons Bay and Northport. Currently, we have 6 adult mentors with over 50 years of first experience, including 2 who were former students on the team. It's our 16th season. We've made 3 appearances at Worlds, 11 at the state championship, and we've been a 2 times district winner and a 4 times district finalist, a world champion division finalist, and have had 23 judged awards.
Typical season in Michigan kick off in early January with the game that we have. Each year the game changes, and we have 7 weeks to build a robot that weighs approximately 120 pounds. We play in 2 district events. If ranked high enough, we qualify for the state championship, which is 160 teams. About half of those teams will qualify for Worlds. And a typical event includes 40 teams. Each team plays 12 qualification matches, and each match is 3 versus 3 with randomized teammates and opponents. Every match begins with a 20-second autonomous period, followed by a 2-minute and 10-second drive operated period. Following qualification matches, permanent alliances are selected by the top 8 teams for the elimination matches. 3 R's, it's in our DNA. There's robust, reliable, and repairable. With reliable, we use current limiters on motors, so the motors won't burn out. And for the robust, we use polycarb, so when we get hit, we can keep going instead of using like a light metal that can absorb the impact but stay the shape. Repairable, how easy we can fix the robot if it does break.
Our 2026 season budget for our regular season, which includes entry fee, kit parts, materials and parts, travel, which is 1 home and 1 away event, promotion, which is like t-shirts and banners, and the subtotal for a regular season was $19,700. And then if you make it to Worlds, not the Worlds postseason, state championships, if you qualify, which we did, the state final entry fee is $4,000 and travel is $38,000, and that comes to $7,800. And then if you make it to World Championships, the world final entry fee is $5,000 and the travel is $30,000, which is $35,000. And then that all adds up to be $62,500.
We are grateful for your support in donating the money. We got to go to states this year without having to do any extra fundraising. If you choose to contribute again in the future, your continued generosity would be greatly appreciated. And for this season, it was $27,500.
Every year when we have a robot, we name it. This year we named our robot Odin. It's named after the Norse god of wisdom, knowledge, creativity, and inspiration. Odin is also often associated with valor and is believed to bring victory to his champions. One of the tales of Odin is he sacrificed one of his eyes to gain insight, understanding, and more wisdom about the world. Our team tries to represent Odin by as we always strive for more knowledge and wisdom to be able to do better in each coming year and each coming match. That is our robot. We will have a demonstration later about what it can do.
That's it.
Do you guys have any questions for us?
Can you briefly describe what the game was this season?
The game was, you can pick up the fuel any sort of way you wanted to. You build it by yourself, all from scratch, and we have a hub that you score the fuel into. And we also have a human play aspect. Every game has one. And this year was pushing the fuel into the human player station and the human player picking it up. And they could either do a slide mechanism where it drops all the fuel into your robot, or you can pick it up and throw it into the hub.
Is that the fuel, Aria? Gotcha, thank you.
How many fuel were on the field, Warren?
Regular competition, 360 of them.
Almost 500.
What did you personally find the most fun about doing this challenge?
I personally find the most fun in this is the design aspect, where we get to do ideas of what we want to do, and we use 2x4s and plywood to plan ideas out.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
What kind of funding are you looking for? Like, what would be a helpful amount of money if we were to approve it?
Can you say that again?
Is there an amount of money we could contribute as Northport School to this for the coming year, and what would that amount be that would be helpful?
Around 5,000 would be good, because then it's a good start to what we need to fundraise.
Is it helpful to have it approved now, like for
Yeah.
planning purposes? So I would move that we fund them for $5,000 for the coming year. Is there a second for that?
I'll second it.
All right, there's been a motion from the floor to fund the Norseman's Robot Scene for $5,000 for the upcoming school year. Is there any other discussion?
Is this limited to 5,000, or would we consider another second round of funding if there was necessary?
I would consider another round if we're asked.
And you can amend it, if you'd say 5,000 now with the opportunity to amend at a later date as needed.
I don't need that, as long as the intention is clear.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
Ben-
second.
Ben Hill. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Well, thanks again, guys, for your presentation, and I look forward to seeing your robot at the meeting.
Yeah, can we play with it?
Good answer. Thank you, guys.
Did you want to do just a 5-minute demonstration out here right now, or did you want to wait until your meeting is done?
What's the preference of the board?
Either.
We're going to take a 5-minute recess to watch the robot?
It might be convenient for them.
So they don't have to stay till then.
Appreciate that, thank you.
Right.
Justin were trying, he said that he was interested, so we're
In
moving.
this case, we don't even make it a
Tomorrow for
resource.
sure. I don't know if Grisham is interested, I don't know, like, he's been there, and some of the times they talk about it, I see a lot of kids seem so, but I know Ava for sure is, cause she started attending last week, cause she's 14 already, and so she started coming. Yeah, and she had a really great time, she said they've been like doing stuff almost every day.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I'm glad kids, yes.
My sister is super so she can get cards. Just really putting in the card in the mail. For Debbie, yeah. Anyway. Oh, yeah, I was exhausted.
Yeah, I think it was like, he wanted to do that.
You know, they're fully charged. Normally I'm at about 50. I need to borrow your watch. Ruin all your data. I have to bring 2% charge. I'm gonna go look. It is cool. I just don't want to be in
I know, I'm really tempted. Yeah, I'm gonna go for that. You have a lot. Did I send you that one?
You do?
I think so.
Wow. He was big.
Oh, he did.
Oh my god. He was.
You can see, isn't it, like, it takes like 20 signatures.
Hey, you don't have to go to Valley View.
No, my mom
Okay,
does.
it's toxic. Oh, everything in my yard is toxic apparently. Yeah, I looked up all the plants. Oh, that's why you ripped up your green heart. No, I didn't rip it out. He rips it out every day. And then it doesn't matter because every day you want to rip the green heart. Everywhere he goes, his mouth is just open. This is like what he looks like. My friends and the others. But my house is just there. This is his brother. Well, maybe there's.
It looks like it's gonna be really rainy.
It does. I'm so sorry for that track.
If there's later, we'll have it like a half an hour.
Yeah, I mean.
You know what I mean, like, oh, let's go home with
That's
them,
so
but,
funny.
I'm hoping that Savannah and, nice, pitching that, yeah, each state can only pitch one, they can't pitch more than innings.
Oh, really?
Really? That's what man thought he read in the.
And that's it, isn't more than anybody. I was gonna say, and then did he say, what is this wonderful thing that I haven't had in my whole life? Yeah.
I got.
Oh,
there's two, like the coach
pitches for four, how many innings is there? Is there 6?
I think it's however many you get done in the.
Yeah, because when we played, yeah, sometimes like, sometimes parents are, we're done. Like, yeah,
Takes so long.
yeah.
I think they played for like 5, but how long is it going for 2 hours?
So the girls will pitch for 2 and then Matt will do the rest.
Yeah, that's one session. And if they, instead of walking, they hit off the tee, it's like instead of walking. Oh, that should be good, it's like, I'm pretty sure. We had 8 runs come in before we swapped, and it was awesome.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's
Get
definitely
ahead,
not
do some
my
fielding,
jam,
like,
things like that.
Liven it up a bit.
Oh, What is it? What is it, Molly? It's the plant. Big tree, big hanging.
It gets purple.
It's in my mom's
flowers
yard.
that hang down underneath. It's called.
Those are the leaves, and you can make it sour.
You know, Carrie?
Yeah, you can find it out there. John knows about things. Purple and does anybody want some keepers?
Carrie, no. Molly's on it.
Very cool.
I asked her.
I wish they would have that when I was a kid. I would have been on that team.
Yeah, very good.
Kind of
You
sour it.
Yeah, you flavor it. Like you could make like a smoothie.
Yeah, but I do, when I extract the keeper every day.
Do you know if the baby deer have moved in?
I think it was just there the one day. I changed locations a couple times, but yeah.
Was there two?
Yeah,
Was
we
there
get them in
two?
our backyard too. She didn't appear to have twins, I think she just had the one. But they figured out that they're safer from the coyotes and stuff. But not so much cars.
I'm actually messaging my mom right now. She's got one. It's cute.
And do you feel?
It's a tree.
I've never felt the difference in any of the things I tried, but do you feel the difference? Like, do you think? Right. But it feels
So this is like a good place.
I just got a text from another man, two balls. She doesn't win, she can't fit it in. Both of them.
Yeah.
But they have all the game tomorrow. I'm not gonna feel. Wow, so and this is gonna be right for like.
Here for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Where's Maddie playing? Wait till we get to volleyball.
But like, where's your game tomorrow?
Oh, okay, I know it's away, but.
So you grow the grains,
Still,
they grow in the.
The games are Braxton's line right now.
Okay. In the ferment.
And they need really no help on them. Because of the chaos.
You can help out, but.
No, I'd rather be.
What's the number? 35. You didn't even get that. I was blown away. I was like, I can get
I have so many rappers that are like, oh, I get it. I see that. Oh, that's strike one. So,
All right, well, thank you, everyone. We'll continue on with the superintendent's report.
We have a pretty lofty agenda ahead of us. I'm going to keep my report relatively short today. I'll answer any questions that people have about that. So the two items on my agenda, we've been reviewing board policy, as you'll see. Today we have some from NWEA. There have also been several conversations over the last month or so about other things within the school, one being digital signage and the other being our bullying policy. Our bullying policy right now comes from NWEA, and it's based off of the state law requiring that. And so we did a thorough review of our current policy and compared it also to the model policy from the state. There are several optional portions of that policy. We do provide annual staff training. We do have annual, not a singular training for students, but through the health program, through the handbook, conversation beginning of the year, opportunities for students. The area where we've not done the optional training would be for parents, which we certainly could do it if needed. We have done it on a as-needed basis when there are questions or concerns, but it hasn't been an ongoing issue where it's needed to have a full, sort of not personalized presentation. And as for reviewing the digital sign policy, most of it we already comply with what the recommended policy was. We have the security pieces in place. We don't have multiple buildings and multiple campuses where we're trying to stay uniform. And so at this point, I believe that the issues we've had have been resolved. We can certainly look at policies if needed, if the board so desires. And the other big topic is we're looking at how to continue to improve our post-secondary outcomes, and looking at ways that we can expand our counselors' roles to help support students who have recently graduated. We tend to have students who go off to college who are sort of the first in their family to go off and struggle with sort of the next steps. So Erin and I have been working on a plan for how she can help support students who need support in the years beyond high school. So we'll keep working on that, but I'm excited to see how that can help some of our students who go off and don't realize how big the world is when they leave Northport. Erin's super excited about that, and she's taking the lead. She's already talked with a mutual acquaintance from downstate who's had a similar role in different districts, and she's already actively drafting what her plan looks like and how she thinks we can support. But that'll be an ongoing process as we move into next year, into the years that follow.
And because we're a general powers district, we can continue to help those students for a number of years after they graduate.
Yep.
Great.
In Lisa's presentation, it said we're getting less for counselors. Are we able to supplement that to make sure Erin's compensated for these additional duties?
Erin is part of teacher contract.
Okay.
And that's also for the mental health side of counselors at 3110. And that reduction is not going away. It was like 80%, I think, and now it's 65%, or something along those lines. So it's just slightly less reimbursement, but that's for the mental health side of things. And so we are filling that position is vacant right now because our current counselor is going into private practice. And so we do have multiple applicants and interviews scheduled in the coming weeks to fill that. But it will cost us a little bit more out of our general fund, which we have budgeted for this year.
We do have other grants that are helping offset that.
Thank you. Any questions from the board on the superintendent's report? Okay, then we'll go to our first public comment period. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak?
I just want to give a PTO update. So today we just helped with field day, and that went really well. It was really great. And then in the summer, we are doing the Sandy Paw Sundays every Sunday from 2 to 4, rotating different parks. And that is on our website, Facebook, and on the bulletin board for those that need to see. And then we are going to be assisting kindergarten Tracy with the Lake Leelanau Street Fair, which the school is going to have a booth, and we're bringing craft to do with kids throughout the day, and we're excited to be helping with that also. So.
Thanks, Laura.
Yeah.
Any other public comments tonight? Eric.
Yeah, thanks. Good evening, Board of Education. I wanted to firstly address the upcoming board vacancy. And I would like to give myself up for, that seat to be appointed. We've been here before, and at the risk of sounding like a broken record, I know you all received my email, but in person, I think I know everyone here, you all know where my passion lies. And if I were to be appointed in part of the Board of Education, my number one goal would be enrollment and supporting not only the kids that we have, but recruitment of kids that are not here, and really building that relationship with the board and the parents and the teachers, and really seeing Northport succeed. Those are my goals, and those are everyone's goals. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know that I'm here and I'm raising my hand, and I want it bad. And if I were not to be appointed, I would obviously try and run this fall. Something else I wanted to address tonight was Mr. Hoskins was here last meeting, and he had requested, I don't think he's had any follow-up from anyone, but he requested that we might start looking into digitally recording these meetings via Zoom, which is a big ask. It's a lot going on to do that. Or at the very least, record it. And maybe be able to have a way to be able to post that video for other people to then look at what's happening here at this public meeting. I think there's a lot of people who would love to Zoom in who can't, Mr. Hoskins being one of them tonight. And I just would love to hear
that, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on that, if you have any. And thirdly, I'm hoping to hear something tonight about the Hanover results and just where we're sitting with that. If anyone wanted to offer up some tidbits about that. I understand the first round of surveys is done, and that the second round is set to go out sometime this summer to some alumni. Is the general rumor. So I just hope for some clarification and then to end, here's our school year. So thank you all for your hard work. It's been a good year. It has, and looking forward to another good one next year. Thank you all for your hard work for our kids, and go Wildcats. So thanks.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, I see Pia's hand back there.
Good evening, everybody. Who doesn't know me, I'm Pia Yeting. I'm the exchange year this year at Northport, and also my year is coming to an end. So before I leave Northport, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to all the staff members, whether you made amazing food, kept everything organized behind and in front of the scenes, or worked hard to make our school look great every day. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you to all the Northport teachers. You didn't just teach me English, history, math, and art. You also taught me lessons about life that go far beyond the curriculum, and I will take those lessons with me. Thank you to the basketball team, my teammates and coaches, who welcomed me and let me learn from where the lines are to starting to get throws in. No matter if we won or lost, we always stuck together, supported each other, and had fun along the way. And my biggest thank you goes to the students of Northport Public School. From day one, I was welcomed with open arms and open minds. You made me feel at home, and I have made friendships that mean so much to me that I hope will last for a very long time. But all that experience wouldn't be possible without a host family willing to host and let an almost unknown child into their life. So a big thank you to Rebecca's and Ben's family, as well as my host siblings. It was my pleasure to be a part of your family. So thanks Northport for welcoming me, letting me learn, grow, and be part of this community. This year has meant more to me than I can put into words, and I will always be grateful for this. Thank you.
Where's home?
What?
Where is home?
Germany.
It's a big country. Whereabouts?
Like 2 or 3 hours away from Hamburg, Hanover. They're like the near. It's a small village like Northport, so like nobody really knows it. Northport is more public than we are.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Pia. Any other comments tonight? If not, we'll move on, but there'll be another opportunity at the end of the meeting. And then for written correspondence, we received an email from Melissa Hale on 5/13, an email from Kelly Dignan on June 3rd, and one from Eric Post this morning on 6/8. Those are all the correspondence that I have this month. Next up, we have our consent agenda. Are there any items on the agenda that the board would like to remove for further consideration? Not, we'll consider those approved. And our first action item is the operating millage.
Project that I don't want me here.
Appearing to be no change in that. 13.388.
Super small for some reason. There we go.
It makes the bill look smaller.
All right. So this is part of the budget process. This is the L4029, which sets the rate for what the district will levy the coming school year. Most districts levy 18 mills. We're capped at a lower amount due to proposal A, and all of that in the early 90s.
Would anybody like to?
I'll make the motion that the Northport Board of Education approve the operating millage as detailed in the L4029 form.
I'll second. And moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and next we have the amended 2025-26 budget.
So this is gonna be what, we just presented, oh, I just lost it. And it will be, so remember how schools work is that we budget, you'll approve max the budget for the upcoming school year. Which is really more like, how you're planning on spending the money. And then at the end of the year, you have to approve the actual budget and how did you spend the money? So the amended 25-26 gets us to the closest to the dollar calculation of how we spent our money this year. Closest with enough error in case something changes before the audit, but we've been on a spending freeze for almost a month, so we can lock the numbers in. This is how the money went out, and this is what the auditor will review, make sure we spent our money the way we said we were going to.
People who build, it's like the as-built diagrams.
Oh, yes. I'll make a motion that the Northport Board of Education approve the amended 2025-26 general fund budget, food service budget, and student activity fund budget.
Thank you, Ryan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Dan. And any further discussion? And this will be a roll call vote.
Ben Hale.
Yes.
And Jamie Scripps.
Yes.
Dan Duffy.
Yes.
Adam McCurdy.
Yes.
Brian Blessing.
Yes.
Tom Weatherby.
Yes.
Okay, next we have the 2026-2027 budget.
Yes, this is our, taking all of our known expenses for upcoming school year, and our best predictions as to how food prices are gonna change, how fuel prices are gonna change, how many times our, bus hits a deer, and, all of those things is our best guess at this point for what the upcoming school year will look like.
Does it make sense to do this one after we have the contract, the teacher contract conversation? Or?
No, I don't think so. It's gonna happen one way or another, so.
We can always, the budget is amended.
Correct.
Throughout the year, so if we need to, we can do that, I think. It depends on, if no one wants to
Like if we're
make a motion.
approving this budget and it's assuming certain numbers, like I just don't wanna jump, and we're literally talking about it later in the agenda.
And there's a lot of assumptions in a budget like this, that's why there's the amended budget at the end of the year, where you adjust for anything that changes.
We have no motion on the floor.
I'll make the motion that the Northport Board of Education approve the proposed 2026-27 general fund budget, food service budget, student activity fund budget, as presented in the budget hearing.
Okay, is there a second? Is there any other discussion?
Who's the second?
If not, we'll have another roll call vote.
Tom Weatherby.
Oh, did you have discussion?
I'm sorry, is this something we need to have further discussion?
I take your point, Jamie.
We will officially approve the agreement later in the agenda, so it's awkward the way it's ordered,
yeah.
so just wanted to raise it for transparency, but understanding that it can be amended if needed.
That's on me, Jamie. I honestly didn't think about it when I put them on there, so.
No, I'm fine, I'm voting yes, so either way.
And normally, the teacher contract is not in the same meeting as the budget hearing. That's just a coincidence this year based on how the negotiating process went. So normally, we're approving the budget. Normally, we're approving a contract that hasn't actually been budgeted for yet, so we have to approve the budget later months later for the contract.
Yeah, this is a weird coincidence.
Any other discussion? Do the roll call vote.
Okay, Tom Weatherby.
Yes.
Brian Blessing.
Yes.
Ben Purdy.
Yes.
Dan Duffy.
Yes.
Jamie Scripps.
Yes.
Ben Hale.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have our truth and taxation proposal. The recommended motion is that the Northport Board of Education approve the truth and taxation proposal as presented in the budget hearing.
Correct?
What's that?
Yeah, it's the statement that we're gonna levy the taxes and that we're being transparent about that in the.
Dan, you made that motion?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Next we have the master agreement. This is between the Northport Board of Education and the Northport Education Association and Northport Public School Board of Education for 2026, 27, 27, 28, and 28, 29, as moved by the Personnel and Finance Committee. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I
Teacher
have
contract.
some questions, but I want to start by saying I'm super supportive of this. Is great. The teachers deserve this and more. Like as you know, I've been nagging you through this process, expressing I've been
very supportive. Yes.
I have made it very clear that I was very supportive of strong salary increases, but I also understand that through this bargaining process, there's like other things in the mix besides salary, right? So I guess my first question is like, is there any possibility of sharpening our pencils and getting anything more in terms of compensation, salary? Like, I'm just gonna ask the question, and if the answer, you can give me maybe some context, you can give me some background, but that's my question.
Well, I think there's the possibility of that. I think, I don't want to speak for the teachers, but I think they're very pleased, and I think that we were able to afford them pretty much everything they asked for, plus a little more, and we have a signed tentative agreement.
They ratified it.
Has been ratified by the union.
Okay, so yay, like that's exciting, right? This is an exciting day. We are approving a teacher contract.
I think so.
This is exciting. Like, this is good. This
You
is
should
really
ask
good.
them, but yes, I'm excited. I
This
feel
is
good
great.
about it.
Wonderful, great. So I just have questions because I read it through and there were things that jumped out at me, and so this is not getting in the way of my yes.
Okay.
My heartfelt yes. It is just to clarify what we're voting on so that I can feel good about what we're voting on, just like that I know what we're voting on. So I noticed that NWEA is more explicitly prevalent in the evaluation, the language around the evaluation here. Can you speak to your understanding of like how the NWEA is taking into account in terms of like teacher compensation?
So, not really at all in compensation. Student performance, I think, is 20% of overall teacher evaluation, and NWEA is some component of that 20%. And that goes to their effectiveness rating. And there's three categories of effectiveness. They're not up to us, but all of our teachers easily fall into that effective category. If they don't at this point, they would probably already be on an improvement plan and other things like that. Because to not be effective, according to the state and how they set those categories, would be a pretty poor performing teacher. And I don't believe that we've had any of those in a long time. If we have, it's been very few.
Does effectiveness feed into compensation?
Yes.
Okay.
So
by the transitive property or whatever. Yes, okay. So it does feed.
It's not direct.
Yes.
Not direct.
Okay.
I believe it feeds into moving steps.
Correct.
So if you're not effective, you don't move a step, which means you lose out on a slight raise for that year, like $1,000.
So, I sent a note about this. I think it would be prudent for the board to adopt an NWEA retakes policy, even if currently we don't have issues with this. This is something that creates a risk that the board could mitigate, and it's a risk not just for the board, it's a risk for the administration, it's a risk for the teachers. Like, you want consistency.
What's the risk?
So the risk is that because NWEA, it affects the effectiveness rating and affects salaries and compensation, there's an incentive, there might be an incentive, right, to actually encourage retakes of the NWEA if, like, in a way that falls outside the guidelines of what we'd like to see as a board. Or what the administration, what I understand is currently the practice. Like, there's sort of a vague understanding at the school of what's acceptable, but like, I just think we need to write it down as a policy and have it as one of our policies, just to protect, honestly, it's to protect teachers, be consistent across the board, and it also protects students, because let's say you did get a teacher, not anybody currently, but just a teacher in the future, hypothetically, who was very motivated in this way and very concerned about the NWEA scores that were coming back, and was requiring students to retake in order to game the system and get a higher score, to therefore increase their effectiveness rating and therefore their salary. So I understand that we may not think that's very likely, but the risk is enough, the risk of harm is there enough to where we should just write it down, especially if we already think we're doing it the right way. There's no harm in writing it down.
I just don't know. I mean, the board, I don't think has any other policies regarding teacher evaluations or testing other than that we're going to use the Marzano scale.
This isn't about
evaluation.
This would just be about when retakes happen.
Right, and that to me seems like an administrative policy, as long as that's written down and clear. I don't know that it needs to be a formal board policy.
Is that even
I
a
guess-
risk right now?
What, I'm sorry?
I'm just asking if there was even a risk, if people could retake that willy-nilly.
We have a pretty serious policy, the lowercase p, how we do it. We generally test students who complete the test in a period of time that is mathematically impossible to actually complete the test accurately. And we have students retest normally if they drop 10 or more points, because in a normal year, if you learn absolutely nothing, your score would stay the same. And so for us, we don't actually use the RIT score, that 200 number, for most of our actual work. That's what parents care about, that's what we talk about kids about, that's how I can see their overall growth. What we use NWEA tests for primarily is to get a better understanding of what the students know, whether the curriculum we've picked is working, whether changes in our instructional methods are working. And so the point of a retest currently is to help us ensure that the data we're getting from the students about their performance in our curricula and our methods is accurate, so we're not making decisions based off of inaccurate data. We can very easily scrap an entire curriculum because we give the test on a Monday and the class was all out, partying Sunday night. That would be a shame to have a whole group of kids drop 10 points or 8 points and say, well, math curriculum isn't working anymore, let's switch it. So the point of our retakes is only to ensure, to the best of our ability, that the data we're getting, not the written number, but the actual, how the students doing on the standards and the content is accurate.
And who makes that evaluation that you're going to do a retake?
It's always a team decision. I'm usually one of the people making sort of the final call, but the teachers are part of the conversation as part of the MTSS process. Pete's part of that conversation. It's not something we just do.
So one teacher couldn't just decide on their own then?
The teachers don't have access to actually have the new score show up. It takes administrative level access to go into the NWEA in the back end to override the original score.
So I agree that there needs to be, a clear and transparent procedure, lowercase policy, whatever you call it, that teachers and staff know, and these are the expectations of drop of 10 points, or obviously clicking through it. I hear you, that I think that's important, so that that's written down somewhere and those expectations are known. I just question whether it needs to be an official uppercase board policy.
We
seems
use
pretty.
it so much though, we use NWEA not only for teacher effectiveness, but also for administrator effectiveness. We are always relying on it, like, we use it so much, like, why wouldn't we write it down in a policy?
And the other argument I would say for putting it in a policy is, here's an example, my son had to do a retake. And I wanted to figure out, like, when is it okay to do a retake, when it's not, what are the rules? So I looked up the NWEA. As far as I could tell, everything was followed. Everything was, it was because the teacher saw that his test performance, or somehow knew that the test performance was not reflective of their class performance. And we were notified about it, and there was a retake. But I think having the policy available, say accessible on the website, then I have a one-stop shop where I can go and say, okay, is what we're doing, is it okay? So that's my.
Sure. I mean, this test is purely for our internal use and betterment. The administration could set the what we wanted as growth so low so that they would come out shining, everybody would, all the time, So unless you really get down into the details and become extremely prescriptive about every detail, it's still a gameable system, to use your words, and I don't.
Yeah, but I think still having that policy, and the policy we're talking about is pretty much with the guidelines of what NWEA lays out. And I know it is for internal, but I think it could also be useful for external when people want to see, like, okay, how are we doing at Northport? I go to MSTEP, and I've even heard you mention that the data you get from MSTEP is kind of hard to pull up for Northport. But yet the NWEA data is easier to find for someone who's a parent, who's not part of the administration, who's not as familiar with it. And I think having that guideline, having that policy helps.
Well, it sounds like there is a policy and guidelines in place. It's just not a board policy. Is that distinction?
And a lot of educational policies shouldn't be board policies. The board
Well,
should be high
that's
level.
my contention.
But this NWEA affects like superintendent evaluation.
Yes.
Like that is a board policy issue. So I don't understand the extraordinary pushback. This is a lot of resistance.
My only resistance is that I don't want to micromanage things, and I want to be up high.
I don't think it's micromanaging. I think it's just putting information up there. It's making
oversight. It's not micromanaging.
Policy that having it up there makes it easier for people to provide oversight, so we don't have to dig or investigate as much. What is our policy? So do we have a policy now, and where would I be able to find it?
I said what our policy is, and it's usually 20 minutes or less, which is ridiculously fast, about half the time, or a 10-point drop. That's the policy.
Okay, is that available? Like, can we find out? Is there a way that we as parents or the community in general could educate ourselves on that?
I mean, as far if you wanted to know when retakes were given, I think it's a simple ask, I think.
Or when I find out that my son is getting a retake, and sure, that's good, I guess, okay. Is that normal? Is that okay? Like, I guess I could go and ask the school and take their word for it, but why not have a policy listed, and I can kind of, okay, this is the school policy that's posted on our website with our other policies, and look at, okay, was I notified? Was he being retested because of this? So for me, I think it's a little bit more transparency.
Would it be possible to come up with write down your policy and have it in the handbook? Or
somewhere where you move the school guidelines. I mean, I don't think that it belongs, because if we do that to the master agreement right now, they're not gonna meet the expiration date, we're gonna have to go back and re-ratify it. So I don't know if that policy belongs in the master agreement or not, but I think.
You don't wanna open that up again, if you can avoid it.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be in that.
I don't think it needs to go, I think the master agreement.
It would just clarify, when retakes are.
We have teachers that use test corrections in their past, we have teachers who give students second chances on assessments when they had a chance to relearn things. I mean, there are lots of ways that we try to make sure that our data reflects what is accurate.
But there's a difference between when a student's retaking for their benefit and when it benefits the adults in the building. When it benefits the teachers or the administration, and so it's great that, if it's a retake that's justified under the policy, that's fine. But a written down policy to make sure that nobody is gaming the system, it's just prudent. And I'm not saying anybody's gaming the system right now. I don't think anybody is. I think that there's a small P policy in place that's probably working pretty well. But it's a risk to call this out in the master agreement and not have a policy on the books.
If it was written down, how would it identify that the teacher had gamed the system?
So I submitted a draft policy, so they are draft, so here's the deal, NWEA, recommends that school districts have a policy on this. So the fact that we don't have a district-wide policy on this is unusual. So.
But how would the policy identify that the teacher had gamed the system? Unless they said, I didn't follow the policy.
Well, if you understand the policy, if I'm a parent and I go and
So
I
the
feel
parents
like
would identify it then.
Yeah, I'm just giving an example,
That's
my
my
son
question.
was retested, and I think that's a little odd, and I question why it was retested. I can go to the policy, and I can see whether or not it was followed.
That's a good answer, that makes sense.
Or the administration could.
And the administration can already, because they have their policy that they're working with.
Right, but they would have the board policy supports the administration in that, right? They're not out on a limb there, we're behind them. That's part of what we're trying to do here as a board, is to support the administration in enforcement of policy.
But do they feel that they need the support, is
Well,
the issue?
Sometimes.
What about the giving students a second chance if the teacher feels like would benefit them? Because I don't think that was allowed in the sample policy.
Like if the student is asking for a second chance on the
Or at the
NWEA?
teachers, we just talked about, or you mentioned it's different if the test is being re-given for the student's benefit
Right,
or
for a
for the
grade,
adults.
yeah,
Right.
or something like that, where it's for the grade or for their
Oh,
growth.
you weren't
in that
talking
grade.
about NWEA.
No, I think it would be, I'm not imagining students clamoring to retake the NWEA, but that's part of why this is important to have in policy, because NWEA retakes, they can serve an important purpose if they're conducted within certain guidelines. But they also do take away from other instructional time, right? And so it's a trade-off, and there's judgment involved there.
Right.
And the board policy could just help make transparent what are the considerations that are taken into account in that judgment call.
Do you understand what I was saying about reducing flexibility? If it's
Well, I mean,
a very prescriptive policy, then
if we're talking about setting this policy, we're developing it as a board. I mean, this is part of the process of figuring out how it won't be. I mean, if we're talking about making something that's restrictive over what we already have, and our policy is just what NWEA is recommending, I think that's a worthy discussion point to discuss why is our policy more flexible than the NWEA recommendation. I'm not saying right or wrong, but I do think it's a point of discussion.
Sure.
And I don't see it as micromanaging either. I mean, we put a rule, it's something that we agree on for a policy, and then we put it, and then we continue to operate. And then if something happens where we feel that we're we've operated outside of that policy, then we have a trigger, something to get us back to the table and say, okay, what's up? Right now, do we have anything?
Yeah, it's the 20 minutes or the drop in 10 points.
One of the things in the policy, the draft policy that I sent to you, Ben, was, actually like reports and data to the board about like the prevalence of retakes and retesting. Cause I don't think we actually know how prevalent it is, right? And so that would be important information. Like we get these presentations on NWEA results, but we don't actually within that understand, like how many of these are attributable to retakes, is this, I mean, I don't think anyone's gaming the system, but that data would help back up in the integrity of it, right? Like, especially because we just don't know how many retakes are happening.
Yeah, I didn't know that that was a question. I mean, I think that's gotta be a super easy answer to get since it's all online. You know, we can ask the staff to provide those numbers on retakes.
Yes, but I still think having a policy, like Jamie says, is prudent. I don't see it as micromanaging. I mean, because it's a policy, like Jamie's drafted one up that is right along the NWEA guidelines. And we can look, and if it doesn't fit for us for this or that reason, this is kind of the back and forth that we're supposed to have. That's the healthy way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I don't want you to think that any of my questions here are, you know, against having the discussion. We're doing it. That's no problem.
It does show a lack of trust.
So oversight at its core is not a lack of trust. I see it as an expression of respect and support. And that's a core responsibility of the school board.
You have to see whether the staff saw it the same way that you do.
Well, yeah.
I mean, an example, I think I've used the example before, but one for the Upjohn company who made pharmaceuticals. And there were no time clocks in the building, even for the hourly employees. And they didn't have any time clocks because W.E. Upjohn, the founder of the company, said if we can't trust our employees to accurately fill out a time card, how can we trust them to make pharmaceuticals?
So the public and the taxpayers and all the stakeholders trust us as a board to provide oversight. So going on just trust is actually like failing in our duties of oversight. So I agree we should not overstep and we shouldn't micromanage, and so we should find that balance. But just leaving it to trust is not appropriate given that this is a public school and we are a school board. We have to provide oversight.
We do have checks and balances too. We have an administration, we have reviews. If we see something happening, then we can deal with that. If that would be.
Trust but verify.
Yes.
And all of that data is available. I'm not opposed to it. I need to think about it a little more and see, you know, I'm hearing your points. But the fact that we do have a policy with it's two clear metrics seems pretty,
Well, it's just the NWEA recommendations are more than just two metrics.
You mean the recommended NWEA policy?
Yeah. And I granted, I understand that what is recommended by this national body might not have aspects that quite fit what we have. I understand that, but I also think it's prudent to kind of give serious consideration to the recommendations.
This is put in the contract this year because Lansing changed the prohibited bargaining subjects. Previously, local growth measures was not bargainable, and now it is, and it needs to show up in your contract. And so what you see in this contract is a result of that, and it mirrors the policy we've had for the last 10 plus years. It just has not been in the contract because It didn't need to be in the contract, but now it needs to be expressly listed in the contract. That's why it's there now. It's not a change in, when anything's happened for the last decade.
Yeah.
I'm certainly willing to consider it and open to it. I just need a little more time to think about that, and I would probably ask for, staff and, input and run it by Troon and all those things.
Yeah. I guess the one last thing I have to say on that is, I guess it's a little bit bothersome that when we're talking about, when we're having the discussion about, prudence of oversight, what I see is just kind of the normal job of the board being seen as distrusting. I don't know,
I mean, you're talking about, employees that are not, operating in good faith and gaming the system. I mean, that was expressly said.
Yeah, but it was also expressly said that we don't think that that's what's going on here.
Well.
But having the policy protects us if 5 years from now we have a situation where it does happen.
Right, but that employee is not trustworthy,
We
right?
have so many policies, John. We have sexual harassment policies, we have staff ethics.
Right,
we
but
have
to me, this
policies
is
for
dangerously
prudence.
close to prescribing how instructional time is used, and that's not the role of the board. That's all. I just need some time to consider it, and I'm not the gatekeeper. I'm just one person on the board. Those are just my thoughts, and I'm not at all upset or that you guys are raising the question or anything of the sort.
Likewise, I'm not dead set
I
against
just wanna try and do what's best for the school, and I'm not exactly sure what that is right now, so that's all.
And likewise, I'm not dead set against this proposal either. I just tend to push back on anything that wants to be added to the board as a policy, if we've been able to deal with it without the policy. Adding too many policies to if you get into a micromanagement part, then it ties you in knots.
I mean, I guess the argument I would use against that is like, well, did we all wait till there was an incident before we started doing background checks? I mean, at Inland Seas, that was one of the things that we first started doing, and we didn't have an issue of someone doing something inappropriate. We started doing background checks on anybody that got involved with kids from day one. And to me, it's similar. It's just a guideline that we put there just to make sure that it's on the up and up. And if there is something that comes into question, we have it kind of cut and dry and clear, not unless open to a muddy debate.
Do you have a unionized staff?
No, we don't.
I guess I'm not trying to contradict you, I'm just trying to explain my
Likewise
thoughts.
with me.
But,
Yeah.
to me, we do have the policy, it's the 20 minutes and the 10 points, and if there is a problem, we can go back to look at that, we can ask staff, or, administration, has this been followed? And I don't think there's any way to manipulate the results from a third-party vendor. It should be very clear of when retakes were given and if they're following the policy that we have in place. And to me, this is just another level, another policy on top of the policy that we already have and are already following. If that makes sense.
Retake to confirm accuracy. Like
Which was already
if a
explained.
student dropped 5 points in the first time and dropped 5 points in the second time, that's probably an accurate score. If the student, dropped 10 points, which means you've lost like 2 years of growth, and then scores 2-point growth the following time on the retake, that's a much more realistic measure of how they're doing. I mean, the goal is to confirm their current level of performance so that we can provide the best instruction possible.
And as you said, the teachers currently don't have access to that data immediately following the test, if I understood you correctly.
They do.
They cannot.
Callie, it's not public comment right now.
They can get retakes all they want and it won't change the actual score until it's overridden.
Yeah.
By one of about 3 of us, 4 of us who can do it.
Correct. So at the very minimum, we could make a policy that acknowledges the school has a policy in place already. And upon necessity, we could change it if we wanted to, but.
I guess I don't see the purpose in that. I mean.
Well, then, that's the same thing, but different. It's just.
How available is the school policy to?
Well, we could make it available. We could put it in the handbook, or we could put it on the website with a notice during testing periods. I would assume. I mean, this doesn't have to be rocket science, and nobody's imposing anything or.
But I do agree with Jamie, is that it's something that, to me, I see it as a board level. Because it is something that we have to provide oversight, and it isn't just the students and the teachers, but it's also the administration, the superintendent. And again, I don't want this to be cast as a distrust. It's I guess the only issue I have is that, this isn't the first time where I've, kind of made a step of like just what I saw as prudence, and I felt a little bit of, that's me, whatever. Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's like that at all. It's just an issue of redundancy, like it's already available. Can you please explain again? The testing data is used for accuracy, as you said. The scores, the RIT scores, are not actually used.
RIT scores are shared with families because it gives you a single number to measure sort of overall progress. It is usually shared with the students in their goal setting process.
Correct.
And it is used when we calculate as a district how we've done, because then you can't look at each student individually, collectively, so that is one way that we can look at how have we done collectively.
Yes, and then the NWEA is for accuracy and.
It's not for credit, it's not for a diploma, it's not.
Correct.
For the students, but for the teachers and the administration, it's for effectiveness ratings.
But it doesn't play into retakes if the retakes are only being used if there's an issue presented in the data.
Yeah, we understand that, but how do we verify? Or what if there's a disagreement, or, I mean, that's why we have policies.
That's an observation that gives another teacher's evaluation. The NWEA is a fraction of 20%. The NWEA, I don't think can change teachers' effectiveness. I mean, 80% is Pete in the classroom observing. It's almost impossible to move your score. If you had a mediocre set of observations and you tanked the M step and you tanked your NWEA and you didn't do an SLO, like perhaps they could drop you, but 80% of your evaluation is the principal in there watching your lesson. So if we're going to look at oversight, I was going to provide oversight on how the principal is providing his evaluation data, observation data. That's 80% of what the score is.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
There isn't much incentive to game it because it's diluted so much.
Yeah, I just want to try and think through all the implications, that's all. I'm not opposed.
Well, in the interim, could we get more transparency around the school level policy? Like, can that?
Sure.
Sounds like writing that down, communicating that.
Yeah,
and then
that's all.
And you seemed interested in maybe receiving that data on retakes when there's presentations to the board.
I think that would be cool, yeah. Just to find out like a data number that we can look at.
I think that would be a step in the right direction for sure.
I think those are all very doable and okay. And we can, have I don't think the rest of the board saw policy, it was just on Friday, right? So we can
So you can
share that out and have discussion and votes. Okay, so we have a motion and a second, and we're in discussion about teacher contract.
So again, very supportive, wanted to see a bigger salary increase, but understand the context and very, very supportive of what's in here. Another thing that I was communicating with you about, because I was confused about it at first, and I think we need to make this more transparent going forward, is how the teacher contract and the superintendent contract have that interaction, right? It's, I don't even know if all the board members are aware that there is this interaction, but in voting to approve the teacher contract tonight, we are voting for a salary increase for the superintendent, because that number that Lisa gave us, that average number of 12.87%, then gets applied per the agreement we approved in December for the superintendent. And so that's something that has budgetary implications, was presented earlier. And then my question is, it's a clarifying question, but that's in addition to the, I think it's 10% longevity payment that's in the superintendent contract as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's in addition to everything that was negotiated and the board agreed to in December.
Right, so we're today, in addition to approving the teacher contract, we're approving this 12.87% increase for the superintendent. And then just not by virtue of our vote, but there's also a 10% increase to the superintendent's salary as well, just based on what we did in December.
On the vote in December.
Yes, on the vote in December, yeah, okay, all right. So my main concern with that just is something that was raised by, I think Tom raised it in the previous discussion around, we have checks and balances, and we have performance evaluations and things like that. We've had discussions as a board about actually having a real, like, a performance evaluation for the superintendent that is more than just like an up-down, like what we did in December, because just the process right now just feels very black and white, like it's either yes or no, up, down. And we didn't have any discussion over what's going great, right? Like, let's lift up what's going great. What are areas for improvement? There was none of that, like, I'm on other boards where we do performance evaluations. I've given performance evaluations to employees. Like, a performance evaluation there's substance to it that we don't have that right now in our policy.
And we have in the past.
Yeah.
Depends on the board. We've had times where it take us maybe 3 or 4 meetings with a lot of time in between to fill out all the forms and do all of the questionnaires and that. And that was Marzano also, but it was done very analytically. Dan was involved in some of those. He knows how those go. The board moved away from them. They could move back again too, but people just didn't want to do it.
So I think Ben brought it up. I brought it up in the past few months. So I feel like we've expressed that we want to do this. And now before us again is another vote. Like, cause you know how I'm excited about this teacher contract. It feels imprudent to be voting again on superintendent raises when we haven't had any subsequent like performance evaluation for it. Like it's even after noting that the previous up-down was like there wasn't enough discussion there. So
you need a majority of the board. You could change the evaluation.
Well, yes. I mean, we usually do that in the end of the year is when the superintendent evaluation happens.
Yep. So I'm just trying to, it's something that I think for board members in the future, making more transparent, because I had to dig and ask a lot of questions around, and I don't know, Ben, if you had to then ask questions probably around what was that number, 12.87%, because it's not in the teacher contract, right? It's a calculated average. Right? So that part was not very transparent, just as a board member, just feedback as a board member, like, because it's hard. Another thing that would be helpful going forward is to highlight, like, what is new and different. Right? Because I kind of had to compare previous, and I had requested from you the previous contract. I don't even know if others had access to it, but that's a lot of digging for us to do to understand the budget implications of it. So it's just going forward, that would be nice, just to make it more transparent.
Yep,
So,
the committee has those, so we can provide that copy
that's great.
to the rest of the board. That's a good idea.
That'll be a nice improvement, so. Okay, those were my questions.
Okay. Any other discussion on the master agreement? Hearing none, let's call a roll call vote.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
I didn't realize we were doing a roll call. Okay, Ben Hill.
Yes.
Jane Scripps.
Yes.
Dan Dudley.
Yes.
John Purdy.
Yes.
Ryan Blessing.
Yes.
Tom Weatherby.
I think I'll abstain on this one because of the connection.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have the auditorium light replacement proposals.
So last month I brought two proposals to the board. The board expressed more interest in the national company, but with the rep based out of Traverse City. I followed up with, this company's biggest local client, CSC's biggest local client was they did Milliken Auditorium at NMC. I followed up with them and they could not have given better praise, recommendation for this company and the Traverse City rep for them. So this proposal would be to have CSD look at our current lighting setup in the auditorium and draw up an RFP for us to go out to bid to replace the aging dimmer rack, relays, and the bulbs that are 500 watts a piece or more. We're not committed to moving forward with the plan. Besides figuring out what options there are, it would be an expensive endeavor not to move forward with that. And it really is a matter of time, whether we do it now or do it in a couple of years. The system is slowly falling apart, and so I would recommend doing it sooner rather than later. And this is the company that I recommend from your feedback and then from my follow-up.
And what was the amount?
I believe there's two parts to the contract. I would ultimately recommend both if we go through with this eventually. Do it backwards, I think. I wrote that. So $29,985 is the cost for all the engineering drawings, all of the specs, coordinating the RFP, helping with the bids, and then some of the project management also. There's an additional fee. We want this company to help ensure that the board, the light board, is working, is sort of as properly set up as possible.
Kind of commissioning after the fact.
Yeah.
You can't get Al to do that for him?
I'm sure I could.
Okay, but for tonight, it's the $29,900.
Yep.
Thank you. Well, we've been limping it along for many years, so I don't think it's.
Well, this one hits close to home, so I'll make the motion of the Northport Board of Education accept the proposal from CSD Group LLC for engineering services, the amount not to exceed, what do we want for that?
I'm with this number right now, the $29,985.
I left it blank, so I didn't know if you want the option.
$29,985.
Yep.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on this?
What is the optional? Is that
The optional is about $9,000 and
That's for setting up the lighting board and making sure it works.
I do think, I mean, someone's gonna have to do that at some point. It's not scrolling for me.
But just for clarity and kind of timeline, this firm would put together a plan, then there would be another firm who's overseen by these guys that actually do the work and replace the equipment, and then the optional part would be for this firm to come back in and commission it. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have our open enrollment agreement.
Yeah, so I presented this, last month. There were a few minor tweaks that I think I followed up with the board on the following day, or maybe even during the meeting, so there are some changes coming. It mostly has to do with the window of time for when students can enroll in a district. It was a result of a concern TCAPs had that other districts agreed with.
You're talking about which section? Has the
No, I don't see the agreement in my list of PDFs that I have open right now. I have like 25 PDFs open now. That's because it's called policy number, not an actual thing. So this is the agreement that allows us to receive students through a release. If all of the 16 districts in the ISD agree, it allows us to play by the same rules. It makes it so we don't have to do 105, which is a more burdensome process. We've had the same general agreement for as long as I've been around, and it predates me considerably. Normally, this is an every 3 years, just a consent agenda item. There were enough tweaks from the lawyers just to clean things up and to make it more manageable, that we moved it from consent to an actual action item. But it's essentially as presented last month, besides a few tweaks in the whole window.
Thank you, Neil. Is there anybody that'd like to make a motion to approve the Northwest Education Services Interdistrict Cooperative Open Enrollment Agreement as presented? Is there a second? I'll second it. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And lastly, we have our math curriculum selection.
This is as presented last month, so the teachers, Pete, spent a long time reviewing curricula. They met with the ISD's math team to receive support for making a decision. Some of the big criteria for us is that we really do like that K-12 continuum in a lot of larger districts where you have schools that aren't connected. There are other choices you can go with for like a 9-12 or a 6-12 versus a K-8. We really do, we like having the same across the board here. This is the same curriculum that we currently have, just the newer version, because our current one is no longer being supported with both manipulatives and the digital components to it.
Anybody like to make the motion?
I'll make the motion that the Northport Board of Education approve the purchase of the K-12 math curriculum materials from Savas, is that how it's pronounced?
Savas.
In the amount of not to exceed $33,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and next, for our discussion items, we have some board policy updates.
Yes, and I am happy to spend as much time as people would like on any of them. The majority of them are, again, not overly exciting because most of our policies really are a reflection of how we're going to operate under the law, and a lot of times our policies reflect a change in law, and we need a tweak in our policy here. So I will start with a summary of the proposed changes, and then if we'd like to dig into any of them more deeply, we certainly can. So there is one change to the bylaws, and that is just a change in language, trying to clarify what a cell phone is, because there's upcoming policy required by the state about how we how we handle cell phones. So we are changing personal communication devices to wireless communication devices. You'll see two staff ethics policies, 1410 and 4210. If you remember, NWEA, their policy is chunked by, like you have operations, you have support staff, you have certified staff, you have administration, and they have the same policy quite often in multiple spots, depending on who it's talking about, versus saying staff ethics and making everyone's reference that. There is no current staff ethics policy for admin or support staff. It's only been a certified staff. So this is basically a mirror of the certified staff to make sure that everyone is on the same page. I believe we reviewed the policy recently. There is a change to 237001, which is the online blended learning. This is a change to reflect a change in state law. In the Pupil Accounting Manual about how we can not have more than 15 days of blended learning. It's no longer a relevant statement. It's just still in the policy even though the laws have changed. 2417 is the comprehensive school health education. So that basically is our policy about how we're going to provide general health class for our students, kindergarten through 12th grade. That one is being revised to reflect the change in the law. But I think it's really more so because of 2418, which is the change in the sex ed policy. The change in the sex ed policy, I think, had to do with changes to Michigan Health Education Standard Guidelines and Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act. If you remember from our conversations we've had multiple times, all schools in Michigan are required to offer at least one or two kinds of sex ed. There's sort of the sex ed light, and there's the full model. The sex ed light is more of your HIV, your AIDS, your how to stay safe. We are required to teach those classes with an opt-out for parents. The more traditional sex ed is an optional piece. If we do that, there are pieces that we have to do, including having a committee that helps oversee that. It's not the board or the administration. Since before I was here, the school has not offered the full sex ed piece. If that is an interest, we should still adopt the changes in the policy to reflect current law, but it won't be relevant until the board decides that they want to adopt implement the full sex ed. Let's see. You'll see a couple of volunteer policies that are renumbered or rescinded. That again goes back to how they have policies spread out. They're trying to actually prevent that, and they've moved two of them to the end here. 5136 is our wireless communication device policy. This is a replacement. This reflects the state law changing having to do with cell phones in classrooms. This policy is less restrictive than what our current practice is. It meets the requirements for the state. So by adopting this policy, we are up with current laws. We still go a step further here with what our policy is. I would be apprehensive to move our policy, to adopt the board policy more restrictive than the recommendation, just because I do worry about it being a moving target currently. 6320 and 6325 both have to do with changes in purchasing. Those are both just revised policies having to do with annual thresholds that change. One has to do with state and one has to do with federal funding. 754009 is I think at least the second or third time we've looked at the AI policy, and I think it's going to keep changing every single policy update for the foreseeable future. If you remember, the board adopted one, I think, back in the fall that was extremely generic. This one is a little more detailed. The biggest piece here is that we are trying to make sure that we have constraints so that students and staff aren't using AI that uses their data for for training purposes. 8402 is a revision of our emergency operation plan. We drafted that pre-COVID, a little before COVID. With the change in the cell phone policy, we now have to include change in our emergency operation plan that says how we will allow cell phones to be used during an emergency. So this tells us to do that. And then the last one, 8655, is specialized transportation for students with IEPs. We talked about this here also, that LRE, least restrictive environment, is the current hot button issue coming out of Lansing and the special ed department. And this just outlines making sure that we will always provide least restrictive transportation for our students. So if we have students going to a center-based program in Traverse City, we will use the least restrictive method for getting them there. Are there any other policies you'd like me to pull up so we can dig into them further before the board makes a vote next month?
Anything the board wants to pull out for further discussion tonight?
Did you, did you have any issues with AI this year, or was it pretty?
None that's made its way to me.
Okay.
I mean, I think that there's that balance of what is appropriate use and what is not. I'm not aware of, here, there was an issue, I believe, at CCC with a student, but to the best of my knowledge, we have not had like an essay turned in that was noticeably AI written. It could have, I'm sure there have been plenty that have been supported, but we have not had any major issues that's made its way to me yet.
Thank you. Any old business? New business? Let's see our list of upcoming events there. Any other superintendent comments tonight?
I want to thank Pia for her comments. We've had 3 exchange students the last 3 years, and you're the first one to do that. I thought that it was a really nice way to end your time here, so thank you for that.
Thank you. Any public comment period? Any public comments? Yes, Callie.
Hi, thank you. I would just say, I know for a fact, like my son and all of his friends, actually it was kind of funny. They all know their NWEA score, like of what they should be hitting, which is really odd. I've talked to a lot of educators downstate, and that's not normal for a lot of the kids to know their NWEA target scores, but they all did, and they do know what they got that day. So I don't know how you guys don't know if the kids know. But I do think that that is worrisome. I don't want it to be our kids just learning to take tests. And I know that my son has had to retake it. I didn't get notified. I just found out from him. So, you know, I don't know the rhyme or reason, but I do think it's odd. A large amount of kids do, I think. And if we're gonna hang our hat on, you know, all the improvements we're doing in their teaching, then we should make sure that the numbers are a little accurate. And I'm not saying that they're not being fair or that, but there are people that might do that. And so I do think that's safe to have that, you know, in policy, as a matter of fact. And I just don't like the fake outrage about, well, we're not trusting them, or the outrage from the teachers. Honestly, I'm still upset about parent-teacher conferences. You know, I don't think any teachers, educators here that have students that are school-aged, besides the Weatherbys, actually send their kids here to this school, which is saying a lot. I have a brother-in-law that lives in Boston, and he took a job at Newton High School because his kids could go there. It was such a good school. He wasn't getting paid as much as if he worked in the inner city, but he took that job because his kids could go there. We don't have anyone doing that. And if you looked at the Hancock survey results, or Hanover or whatever, I think you guys have the results, or the first ones that went out. Doesn't look very good on how the teachers graded if they would send their kids here. But then they're gonna get mad at us because we're asking questions and want to know more things. So like, you can't, if you want more for your own kids and you don't send them here, then you can't get upset at us for wanting more for our kids as well. We send them here still. Don't get upset if we ask questions or we want to talk to all the teachers during parent-teacher conference. And I also just wanted to just lay it out there that there seems to be some common misconception that Mr. Weatherby doesn't make very much money as a superintendent and that he could get some other job somewhere else very easily and leave us like, you know, empty-handed or at a loss. I would love to see him try. I would love to see him get a job somewhere else. That's hilarious. He's never going to find another job where he has all these board members, rubber stamp and everything. His dad is on the board. That's ridiculous. And fighting with people who want to do oversight, he's calling them saying they're not trustworthy. So that's just crazy to me. But Mr. Weatherby, who looks after one school with 114 students, makes a compensation. Well, that was then. Now we're learning he's going to get, what, a 20% raise here. $243,000, $953. That's crazy. He makes more than Sutton's Bay superintendent, who looks over 2 schools and has 525 students. He makes $223,011. If you want to compare, I moved here from Elk Rapids because, oddly enough, we couldn't find an affordable house in Elk Rapids, so we moved here. You know what that superintendent makes in Elk Rapids? Because the cost of living is high there too. They look after 5 schools. They have 1,200 students. He makes less than Mr. Weatherby, $212,000, $468. Frankfurt looks after 2 schools, 525 students, $207,000. So he's making, I can actually find a lot of superintendents with the small amount of school numbers that we have because they don't have to, anything over $100,000 is what you put on your website and for transparency. Most superintendents in a school this size make less than that. He's making more than anything. And he's not doing anything. The numbers are going down. He's getting the teachers fighting for him because he's getting them all riled up, telling them that we are mad at them. He's a cancer. And the sooner you guys get rid of him, the better. And guess what? You guys are oversight. I'm letting you know you're on notice right now. You need to start doing oversight or you're going to be recalled. I will recall you. I already have enough signatures. Tom, you're first. Because this is completely inappropriate that you
Callie, we have
We have a 3-minute.
Well, just be prepared. Start doing oversight or face the embarrassment of being recalled. Because you guys are not doing the kids justice here. You're not. You're just rubber stamping. Go back to the bar. I've heard about all you guys crying at the bar about how we're so mean to you.
Okay.
Do your job and we won't be.
3 minutes.
Do your job.
You've been generous.
Do your job.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, I just want to say, as the school year comes to a close, I want to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude to the board and to the administration for all your continued support. Your dedication to the students and staff makes a meaningful difference. We appreciate the resources, the trust, and the commitment you show to our school and to the staff.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add a comment. It was at the beginning, public comment also, but when Eric brought up what Hoskins with the Zoom, I know that it is complicated, but I do know a number of parents that are interested in coming who are not able to come at this time. And if it was on Zoom, even if they couldn't Zoom at the time, they could watch it later. So I think for future consideration, that might be something that could be valuable to assist with people hearing directly what is happening at the meetings and directly the superintendent reports. To a lot of information is shared that's very valuable, and I think that it's helpful for parents to be able to hear that instead of, hearing it through, 3 people that have heard it and now it's not quite the same. So anyway, thank you.
Thanks, Laura. Any other public comments?
I just have one comment. I just want to make sure that everyone is clear that the board speaks through its minutes and the board doesn't speak per se of every comment at a board meeting during discussion. So the minutes speak for the meeting.
Any others? Okay. We'll move on to board member comments, and I think maybe everybody knows, but Jamie has resigned effective June 14th. So we will seek other interested parties, and they can submit a letter of interest, and the board will interview candidates at our next meeting. And that's all I have, other than to say thanks to Pia, and it was great having you here, and we'll miss you, and I'm sure you're go on to be successful in whatever you tackle next. So keep in touch. We'll look forward to updates. Any other board member comments?
I just want to say thank you for Jamie serving on the board. I found that it was really valuable the way she would process a lot of the information, go through and find questions like these. I think the things that Jamie's brought up have been really important. I think just especially for me, because I'm new to many of the things here, I appreciated the fact that there was someone with Jamie's background on the board who knew how to read through these things, comb through the details, and bring them up at this meeting. And I'm frankly gonna miss having Jamie on board.
Thank you, Jamie, especially, you know, being appointed and being willing to serve, even though you didn't seek the seat. I appreciate it. Thank you. Any other board member comments?
I just want to say thanks to the staff and teachers and everything for graduation last week. It was a really wonderful ceremony. So thank you guys for doing all that.
It's always special.
Yeah.
Students did a great job with their video too.
Yeah.
Anything else? If not, is there a motion for adjournment?
I'll move.